Hey everyone, welcome back to Hazardous Opinions. Today, Andy is finally right back where he belongs with the pod and being the awesome co-host that he is. Really happy you're back, buddy.
Thank you.
We'll be discussing Death of a Unicorn that just released last week. A big way you guys can help us is by following us and giving us 5 stars wherever you get your podcasts. Also, reach out to us with anything movies at hazardousopinionspod@gmail.com or on socials like TikTok and Instagram at hazardousopinionspod and chat with us on Discord. We really appreciate all of you and your support. Now, before we dive in, Andy, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm very glad to be back. I've been watching a lot of movies over the last, was it 8 months I've been gone? Ish?
Too long.
Something like that. Anyways, lots of movies. I've cruised through my list, and now we're kicking it off with a brand new one to get back into it.
Perfect. All right. Yeah. Like I said, super happy you're back. I'm not super pressured or anything. Like on the boat captaining myself, I guess. Oh, thank goodness. Yeah, no, I'm glad you made it back safe. I'm glad you had a lot of experiences and movie watching.
Yeah.
I mean, I could tell from your Letterboxd it was like constant. That's awesome to see, though.
Yeah, just I knocked out tons of stuff and found a lot of really good favorites.
Heck yeah. All right. That's awesome. So, are you ready to dive in?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah? Okay. All right. Here's Death of a Unicorn from 2025. The plot of this is a father and daughter accidentally hit and kill a unicorn while going on a weekend retreat, where his billionaire boss seeks to exploit the creature's miraculous curative properties. Now, let's meet our cast. Paul Rudd plays Elliot. Jenna Ortega plays Ridley. Will Poulter plays Shepard. Richard E. Grant plays Odell. Tia Leone plays Belinda. And we have Anthony Kerrigan as Griff. The IMDb rating is 6.5 out of 10. And the Letterboxd rating is 3.1 out of 5. And obviously, since this is newer, just came out last week, like you said when we were talking earlier, it will like be subject to change because there's only like 2,000 on IMDb logged.
Yep.
Yeah, that's not a whole lot, but Andy, your rating on Death of a Unicorn and general thoughts since you're back on the mic. We'll start off with you.
Yeah. I guess I'll shout out Alex Scharfman as well for directorial debut on this.
Yeah, correct.
So it's always nice to see a young director getting their feet wet, getting into the big pictures right away, and getting a big theater release with their first one. So that's cool. But yeah, me and Hunter went to this a couple days ago and formulated our notes, and I had a good time with this. There's a lot to enjoy, especially with Ortega's performance, really killing it here.
Mm-hmm.
Rudd has got some good scenes as well, and Will Poulter as well. It's just amazing comedic relief.
Yeah.
And then Anthony Kerrigan, as you mentioned as well, as Griff. Just a little side character that I had the most fun with. Like overall, this movie was funny. And it was also very gory, which I enjoyed some of those parts. But they don't lean too much. Sorry, they don't lean enough into the silliness. I think there's too much seriousness that brings you out, and you start questioning the reality of seriousness until the comedic parts bring you back into that side. It's a little bit of a flip-flop, but I'd give this a 7.2 overall. I had a good time. I enjoyed it. There's just some tone mismatch through the movie.
Yeah, definitely. And going off of that tonal mismatch, like I will say that's one of my biggest points in my general thoughts and feelings on it. Just it bounces around a lot with tone, and even though it's categorized as a horror comedy, I felt personally it didn't take full advantage of that. Like you were saying, the big positives were the performers going into this. Like I was super excited immediately. Paul Rudd and Jenna Ortega grouped up together as a father and daughter. I was like, I'm sold. This is in the bag, especially being an A24 production too. You know, like they for me personally, have hardly missed, I would say. And you've come to enjoy so many A24 films yourself too. I was kind of, even though I thought this movie had it in the bag with its concept, I mean, bringing unicorns and doing horror with it, I was like, okay, intriguing as well. And hitting a unicorn on a nature preserve is kind of ironic a bit.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of had that back in my mind thought that maybe A24, I have come across A24 movies that I'm not a big fan of, and it's becoming more and more frequent now that A24 is getting bigger and producing more films. There might be more misses, and that's what I was kind of concerned with. And I would unfortunately categorize Death of a Unicorn into that bucket right there. It did let me down. That's the whole feeling I had throughout the movie. I'm like, I don't know. The thought and feeling of that hindered my experience. Unfortunately, I couldn't really enjoy myself. I just kept thinking, oh, I would have done something different here. I would have done something different here. I would have wrote a different line there or something.
Yeah.
Just, I mean, I watched The Electric State not too long ago, and I'm just going to say soulless movie there. And I did find a lack of soul in this one as well, unfortunately. And I kept thinking about The Electric State, even though they're two completely different movies and different scales and different production companies, obviously. It did stick in my mind during this. And I kind of had an icky feeling the whole time. Yeah. So saying all of that, sorry, it was kind of rambling on, but my personal rating would be a 2 out of 5.
Oh, wow.
On Letterboxd for this.
On your Letterboxd. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Unfortunately. Yeah. No, not 2 out of 10 IMDb terms, but that would be horrible.
Still, I mean, 4 out of 10 on the IMDb scale.
Yes.
That's a big miss for you.
And I'll get into thoughts. And don't worry, people, if you really enjoyed this, I love when people enjoy something I don't enjoy, because that means there's something out there for everybody. This just wasn't for me, unfortunately. And no matter how much I love the performers or I love these type of films, especially horror comedies, it's just, it didn't hit that mark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. I expected you to go lower than me. I didn't know you'd be that low. Yeah, we also seen another A24 film together recently, Opus, and talking about misses lately.
I would exactly. You brought up a point that I was circling there. I just couldn't. I couldn't think of the A24 movie that it was really in the back of my mind during this. And yes, it was Opus, and I would link these two. You know, even though they are close in release, I would group them together in that disappointing bucket.
Yeah, I think A24 needs to take a break, take a step back, and I don't know, reevaluate the entire the way they want to do it. You can't ever just put this on these failures on one person.
No,
I'm sure Scharfman probably did great, I think, as a director for the first time here.
Same with the director for Opus. That I would say Opus is a very good directorial debut as well.
Exactly. It's just something about the writing. I don't think this movie was miscast at all. I think honestly you had the perfect cast for this.
You did, yes.
Poulter was perfect. Ortega and Rudd were both brilliant and were actually a believable father-daughter duo. Yeah. And I really liked their characterization at the start and the first half of the movie, as far as their relationship to each other went. And then it just kind of started to go downhill, and you get into that, okay, now we're just retreading the mom died beats, the normal we're getting back together at the end type of thing, even though there was no emotional journey from Rudd. He was still his shitty character from beginning to end.
Yes.
And I think that was one of the biggest misses in this for me as well, was Rudd's characterization as not being redeemable. I don't know how you felt on that.
Yes. No, I didn't feel like there was really any journey for any character in this. Like Ortega's character, how the story, presents her, it should have an emotional journey that, connects with you, the viewer, but it didn't connect with me. It didn't strike with me like the plot was intending, the storytelling was intending, Ortega's character should Ridley, yeah. Not Ripley. Wow. Okay. Getting the alien there. She should have had a journey, but I didn't feel it.
Yeah.
It was pretty shallow. It was a shallow journey.
You see inklings of it.
Yes.
There's like, the touching the horn scene at the start. It's like, okay, she's our age, like she is in real life, or our generation at least.
Yep.
And so, like our generation, we're all super, environmentally and all the different things like that. And you're like, oh, that's cool. And she's going on her little, save the animals little arc, as well as the animals are bringing her closer to her mom who passed away. And she's getting that closure that her mom's in a better place. It's just, you get two touches on it. You get the start scene when she touches the horn, and then you get near the end where she kind of reconnects with Rudd and his character Elliot about it. But yeah, you don't get that, like, the in-between of her being really torn up about it, and like, I don't know. It just didn't hit enough.
Ortega's performance was giving that emotion and stuff. Like, she was trying. It's just, I don't think there was enough dialogue about it, or like telegraphing of it,
Yeah. I don't remember if we talked about her on our like up and coming actors and like that we discussed before.
I don't think we did.
I don't know if she was mentioned, but she's really good in this. I haven't seen like a lot of Ortega before this. I know she, blasted into fame as Wednesday Addams, and all of her other smaller roles, her Scream stuff as well.
And Beetlejuice just recently.
Yeah.
And X. Yeah, she horror queen already.
Yeah. And she was just not big on my mind until this, though. I think that's one of my biggest takeaways is Ortega can act like really well.
She can. And yeah, I think it really helped to have Jenna Ortega and Paul Rudd as family, because their chemistry was there as well. But again, the writing, I don't think capitalized on that chemistry, unfortunately.
I agree.
There wasn't enough buildup of their relationship in it. And that's what I was talking about with, like, just not enough telegraphing or dialogue of like these emotional beats. It just, felt shallow again. Also,
like, the me speaking into the lack of them leaning into the comedy aspect, they're teetering the horror comedy line, not really picking one or the other, not perfectly merging them for something like Hard Eyes. Like the soundtrack, I felt like was a letdown in this. I think there was one or two big songs, and they didn't ever really added to anything. I really liked the intro a little bit, but then it kind of felt cut short. And then I feel like you could add some more comedic timing into that, using songs, running away from unicorns and stuff, especially with Rudd in the forest running away.
Yes.
Like, that could have been a comedic scene of him leaving, rather than, it was somewhat thrilling, and then he was just back at the house.
Yeah, right? Yeah. Now that you say that, it doesn't capitalize on a lot of things it should have, honestly.
Like, you have amazing setups that you just like, and then now we're in the next scene. It's like, what? Where are you going with that?
I know, and the music and score to this. Like you said, it was a letdown. It also didn't match the film.
Mm-hmm.
The only time it did, and it amplified something in me for watching the movie, was when the touching of the horn would happen.
Mm-hmm.
And the horns kind of just, wah, and like, you know, it's very, how do you say that? Orchestral?
Orchestral, yeah.
Yeah. Wow. I don't think I've ever said that out loud in my life, but yeah, just, yes, it at least capitalized on that.
Yeah.
And it felt like it matched
I really like
the cosmic.
that you bring up that. The cosmic stuff was my favorite part by far.
Lean into that.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And it didn't. And also, like, I have a big question for you, too. When considering the genre of this, horror comedy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like it was more of a comedy than horror, or vice versa?
It's hard to say. Yeah, I feel like it was pretty 50-50. It's just that they were so starkly different. Like, how I see it in my mind is like, oh, you got you're 100% of the movie, and then it's just the 50-50 spread out. They're not blending into each other.
Correct.
It's like, okay, here's 3% of the movie is these comedy scenes here where they're all chatting and making these dumb jokes, and then you switch and it's like, okay, now we're in horror for 5%, and then you're flip-flopping.
It's kind of scatterbrained.
Yeah.
Honestly. Yeah, like you said, they never swam together or like mixed well together. It was either horror or comedy, really.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, even when the horror was happening, there weren't funny moments for me, and that's a letdown in horror comedy. You should have that comedy happening as the horror is happening, right?
100%.
Like, there were no good quip lines, really, like I was kind of expecting, or like jokes about getting killed by a unicorn. Like,
yeah,
none of the kills really did anything for me. And one of my pet peeves with films, I think you already know this, but it has a lot to do with camera movement and camera work.
Yep.
When action is happening, and especially like in this movie, the only action is that like horror going down and the kills. Show me what's going on. Do not cut away. And I know they are creature effects, so it's a little tougher, and you got to kind of figure out how to make the camera angles work and everything with that to make it not look, lesser or janky or anything, like, show me what's going on with the kills. They kind of cut away from them too quick sometimes and don't really show the gore that they should have shown. I mean, they did linger on when the unicorn pierced through Richard E. Grant's head. Getting into spoilers here, guys, for it. But yeah, spoiler warning for the rest of this, like plot-wise. We were kind of just doing more general before this. But yes, this will be a spoiler talk. Spoiler warning.
100%. The unicorn blood's going to wash these spoilers away.
Yeah. The purple, magical, curative blood. Yeah, just like that scene, it capitalized on what I was hoping it would, but then that was gone. It was just that one kill I felt that had what it should have been had going on.
Yeah. So you probably didn't like the scientist guy as much, I'm guessing.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I don't know. It's just, they didn't get very creative with the kills either. I felt, like just, he was stabbed through the back, right? Through the tent?
Yep.
And then that was done. They didn't really, get creative with it or make it funny, really. I think they were trying to look for a laugh at a lot of points in this film, but they didn't get the laugh from me. It sounds really harsh, but honestly, and in our theater, I didn't really hear a lot of cackling.
No.
Or big laughs. And that's a letdown.
There's a couple from some kids, I think, at one point, and it wasn't meant to be a laugh moment.
No, and hey, yeah, I was gonna ask you about that.
It was something that was stupid. I can't remember what it was.
Do you think that like those parents that took the kids to this movie didn't really have an inkling of what this movie was? They just saw unicorn, and their daughters were probably like, "Oh, unicorns! Like, let's go!" You know.
I mean, it was rated R.
It was rated R. They had to make that choice to bring them in there. Like,
yeah. I feel like if you've seen any of the adverts for it, as you know, as responsible parents should before they go into it.
Yes.
I think you know pretty quickly what this movie is.
Yeah.
I think the trailers give a lot away for this movie.
They do. That's the unfortunate part too, and that's why I don't watch trailers anymore.
I try to avoid them, but you know, when you're in theater chair, you're stuck there.
Yeah,
and
that's why I put my head down. La 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 la, like not listening.
Unfortunately, I think it killed a couple of Poulter's jokes for me, but I thought like he was still really good.
I was gonna say that's one point I wrote down in my notes. Poulter actually, I felt, stole the show.
Mm-hmm.
He also wasn't given the greatest lines or writing, just like all the rest of the characters, and that's why I felt like the jokes didn't really like land a punch for me.
Yeah.
Poulter, just the way he said some of his things and like how his character was in this story, it's obviously you hope that it would be a highlight, and he made it a highlight of the movie. I would say, yeah, some of his delivery was just, Poulter's always funny, and so like he glues me to the screen every time he's on. He's got range.
Yeah, I want to know if any of that was like ad-libbed, especially his characterization as it relates to him and Griff.
Yes. Oh my God. Like, Griff. Whenever he would say Griff's name, those were comedy points for me too.
It's like, bring me whatever. You want more champagne or something? He's like, oh, never mind.
Griff, never mind. Yeah. Oh my God. He was so good. And like, okay, his character and how he was funny in this movie really brought me back to We're the Millers, Will Poulter. 100%. That I thought that comedy kind of went together well, and I was pleasantly happy to like be reminded of that role from him.
Yeah.
And him coming back to this, because I recently just rewatched Guardians 3. And yes, he's a funny character in that, but I would say way different from these two characters in We're the Millers and Death of a Unicorn. So it was nice to get a different Will Poulter again. Like I said, he's got range.
100%. I liked his characterization. It's just this techie teen. Not even teen. Like, I think he's also in our generational sphere.
He is.
Where he's, you know, he's a crypto bro of his parents. That's just doing all these dumb investments, but he's not a failure per se, or they don't lead into that trope of being like a super failure son.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, he's doing all this dumb stuff with his money, but he doesn't care about the company. So that's why we've got our lawyer here to take over the company.
Right.
Or our VP, or in whatever dual role he Paul Rudd had. But yeah, I did like Poulter is this weird guy that's like, I'm going to try every drug I can. Yeah. Any way I can eat or consume a unicorn.
Snorting that horn like it's freaking cocaine. Yeah. Oh my God.
And just putting the blood in the champagne, eating the unicorn steak. Like, they were doing everything they could. And I enjoyed that throughout the movie.
Yes. It was real quick how they got to that too. Like, Jesus, they already had a piece of meat out of the unicorn and stuff. And just taking plenty of blood and shaving the horn. You know, just getting to work right away. We didn't have time to waste with that, so I'm glad they did that. But when I was talking about the tones being just so mismatched and scatterbrained, I do feel like the beats in this movie some of the beats were kind of off for me too. You know, the story just didn't flow as naturally as I wanted it to. It started off strong in the beginning by telegraphing Paul Rudd and Jenna Ortega's characters and what they're about to do, and the story got moving, you know, without a lot of explanation. You know, I'm glad it felt natural in that way, but then from then on, it didn't feel so natural. It felt very scattered again.
Yeah, I liked the lack of exposition in the that long cold open.
Yes.
It's just like, oh, hey, we're on the plane. You get some nice panoramic shots to start with, landscape shots. And then I really like the first scene where she's laying on his shoulder as well on the plane. And then, he's got to get the papers and stuff. And then it turns into a little bit of a missed joke there. But
yes, unfortunately.
I did like right away that without any words, you got the characterization that this is a dad who cares about his daughter, but has not had the greatest relationship with her lately. Like, yes. I got that just from this short scene.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. We didn't have to get any word. And thankfully, Paul Rudd and Jenna Ortega are good at performing. And they telegraphed that for us, I felt.
100%.
Yep.
I think that's where the skill of having these A-list actors in really helps your movie along. The only part is, like, it. At some point, there's only so much they can do to fix a script.
Yes. And Paul Rudd's character, that I felt was going to be a home run, because Paul Rudd typically plays these characters. It's a measly attorney or lawyer for this rich family, and he kind of just ducks his head and he's pretty submissive, That is a Paul Rudd thing for sure. And from the start of the movie, I was really happy he wasn't playing like I love you man Paul Rudd or anything. It did feel different, and I'm like, okay, like I love Paul Rudd to death, but it gets somewhat tiring seeing any performer just playing the same thing, right?
100%.
In different projects. So I was glad. I'm like, hey, like this could be going somewhere great. And again, it'll come up again. Did not capitalize on his character. The writing just was not there.
I like it. It's a double-edged sword, because on one hand, like you said, you want new things from your performers that you see. And I was like, oh, they're doing something a little bit different with Rudd here. He's morally gray, maybe morally past gray a little bit.
Yes.
At certain points, kind of a piece of shit. And then I'm like, okay, but he's still kind of quippy. So I'm like, I kind of like that. But then neither of them really worked, because by the end of the movie, when he's supposed to be getting to the end of his arc, he both gives up the morally grayness just out of the blue, and there's no like justification for that.
Yeah.
It's just, okay, I decide to be a good person now.
Right.
At the end, when it suits me to survive.
It was like a switch flipped.
Yeah.
And it was to serve a happy, feel good ending between him and his daughter and stuff, like to us audience. But like I said, or like you were kind of saying, they just didn't telegraph that very well.
Yeah. Because it's like, I hate to speak so badly, even though it's a fictional character, but like he's kind of a coward. Like
he is.
Like it wasn't until the tides completely turned where it's like, oh shit, Richard Grant's dead. I forget his character. Mr. Leopold? Odell. Yeah, the owner of the company, and it's not till like he's dead and the tides are turned against them where it's like, oh shit, we don't have the upper hand. All of our guards are dead. Now I think I'm going to have some, morals, and I'm going to get my daughter out of here.
I didn't have empathy towards him like I should have. And it's Paul Rudd, so that's really tough to make happen. But I think the weak writing made that happen, at least, in my feelings. Maybe other people did connect with the characters more, and they felt something for that father-daughter relationship like they should have, and the dead wife and everything. Yeah, those beats just weren't beating for me.
Yeah. You like, it's like 3/4 through the movie, you had this crucial scene where even though his character arc was lackluster, you still could have turned it around, where he's offered the gun when they're going on the hunting party.
Yes.
That's where you say he finally gets the guts to stand up and defend his daughter, not the interests of his company and his personal interests.
I thought that's where it was going.
Yeah. And then he takes the gun and he goes out. And I was like, oh, okay, I guess we're doing something different with this character, which is a thing on its own. That's not necessarily bad, that you want to say, hey, my main character's a piece of shit, but do something with that. I don't know.
Yes. Yeah. That was well said. Yeah. Actually. The inciting incident with hitting the unicorn with the vehicle in the beginning, well, I'll kind of go to the beginning, and I did kind of do my notes kind of chronologically while the story was playing out. But the inciting incident with hitting the unicorn with the vehicle, great up until the badly done CGI. Did you see the car when it was turning on the highway?
I noticed a lot of iffy CGI in this.
Yeah.
I was so focused on the front bumper damage. I'm like, okay, that thing looks horse-sized. I know they said it's not a horse.
Yes.
But there's barely any damage to that car. I get it. I think it was a Range Rover.
And
probably pretty sturdy.
We do come to find out this was the baby unicorn as well. So
yeah.
A smaller unicorn, but still
500-600 pounds. I don't know. Like, yeah. So I was so focused on the damage, I didn't look at the on the CGI.
If you're gonna hit a tank of a unicorn, you better have more damage on that vehicle. Yeah, I get you. But
also tail light.
Yes.
Headlight.
Right. Yeah. And yeah, I just really noticed that bad CGI, and like for that event of the film, I feel like it just should have been more tightened up and looked over. Yeah, because that's what kind of gets us into the whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, that's your inciting incident. It should be, exciting and not just I don't know if it was my eyesights were in the back row. I didn't bring my glasses for the movie. I was like, wow, that unicorn is really blurry when they were like driving up to it and had that shot from the inside of the car there.
Yes.
And I was like, I guess that's, taking it to give the characterization that obviously they're not paying attention.
Yes.
So if it's blurry to you, it's obviously not visible to them.
It's like it comes out of nowhere.
But just that whole, run up to hitting the unicorn was so like,
I should be locked in at this point, right? You're supposed to draw me into the film with this. And it just did not hook, line, and sink me.
Yeah. I was like, Ortega's or Ridley's head at that point. I was like, why the fuck are you texting on your phone while you're driving in this mountain pass? Like, if it's not a unicorn, it's probably a deer or a raccoon or something running across.
There's obviously going to be nature around. You should have been a little more vigilant, but
so you're going around twists and turns, but
yeah, no kidding.
Anyways, on that the starting stuff, even though I didn't like the crash, I do really like the aftermath of it.
Yes.
I think that's some of the best parts of the movie as well. Not only like the cosmic stuff like we talked about, but then you got the really sudden cutaway from the cosmic stuff to Paul Rudd's little humorous part there.
Yes.
And I know you visibly were like, what the fuck in the movie? And I
probably looked over at you. Yeah.
I was like, that was one of my favorite parts of the movie. I thought that was really funny. And I thought that was perfectly comedically timed.
See, like that matches the tone of what was set up right from the jump.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah, just with the accident before that, wasn't getting the reaction I wanted. But yeah, thankfully it was followed up by that where I could laugh. And yeah, maybe it wasn't more laughing. It was more of what the fuck, kind of like you said. Because I honestly, with the comedy, I think you could probably back this up, but I only laughed maybe twice throughout the movie. And that's not good when you are going to a horror comedy, right? And I can't help that. I wasn't in a bad mood or anything. I mean, I should have been in the best mood because I knew I was at another movie with you again, and it was great, and we're going to pod about it, and it's going to be so fun.
We're just 2 for 2 since I've been back, though.
I know. Oh, man. We better see a good one. Next one.
We're going to go see Alto Knights Break This Funk.
There we go. Yeah, because we know there should be sustenance to that one at least. Yeah.
De Niro doing some more gangsta stuff.
Man, can't wait. Okay, before we get going on that.
Yeah.
The nature preserve setting is gorgeous though. I will say that. I mean, I'm a sucker for mountains, you know this.
Yeah. Set wise, amazing.
But again, the word's going to come up for me, capitalizing on it. I felt like they could have done more with that beautiful setting, but they didn't. And I wonder if that's maybe a location shooting thing. I don't know where they were, if they like actually filmed on location or not.
Yeah.
The house was wonderful too.
Yeah, I was gonna say I did like the set design of the house a lot.
Yes. Yep.
I thought everything in there screamed, person that has too much wealth for their life. And
it also screamed a house set in the mountains on a nature preserve too. I felt like it fit with that.
Yeah, and I thought it felt lived in, and I thought it was a great space for a horror movie.
Yes.
Just obviously didn't capitalize on all of that, but
no,
there was some really good. Like during some of the chase scenes near the end, I thought there was some really good use of the house there.
Yeah, like the hallways and the quick turns into all the different rooms and stuff. Yeah. I agree. I agree with that. I thought the unicorn, even though we haven't gotten to the parent unicorns yet, I thought the baby unicorn design could have been better. It looked awkward to me. Not majestic, right? Like a unicorn should be.
I thought that was almost intentional, maybe. Like I
to
thought,
make it a little more goofy.
Yeah. It was almost like the adult ones were more predatory, and then like from Alien vs Predator.
Yeah.
And then the little one was just a weird version of it's not quite there into the full horror
like
thing.
Freaking Donkey from Shrek, honestly. The face and the mouth kind of just reminded me. I thought of Donkey right away.
Yeah.
In the morning, I'll make it waffles.
The horn was good though. I liked that, and I liked the glowing thing was neat.
Like we were talking about with the cosmic, and yes, their horns. That is one thing that was drawing me in. I wish they did more of that. That's leaning into the cosmic. They should have kept rolling with that. And I love folklore. So when when Jenna Ortega's character was starting to read up on unicorns and their lore, I'm like, okay, give me more of this too. I liked her finding out things and kind of trying to predict where things were going to go and how they can fix this whole thing. I really enjoyed that. And yeah, the effects along with the score of the horn when it's like glowing and buzzing and vibrating, like it did really look cool. I liked that. That wasn't badly done effects at all, I didn't think.
No, and on the folklore that you mentioned, I found myself a little confused by it. Like
Same.
she kept printing off all these things, and then
all these big pictures, and
I was like, okay, they went to a unicorn museum or something before, or something that had unicorns in it in a museum. I was like, why do we keep going back to this? This seems really weird. It seemed like something, I don't know, I get maybe a flashback with her mom to add some more emotional depth, and then it's like, oh, they're at the museum, and then she remembers seeing it. Yeah, I don't know. It felt weird to me. I just didn't understand a lot of the lore stuff. But I'm interested in the lore of unicorns as one of those, mythical things that we can add into our movie universes.
Yeah, and it was really cool that we started to find out that it wasn't all majestic and happy like we think unicorns are, and obviously folklore can get very dark at times. So at least that was feeding into the horror comedy of it all and getting us prepared for how the unicorns would act. Just they were trying to tack that on to the movie and kind of give it a little more heart, I felt, and had Jenna Ortega's character actually doing something and being useful. Again, just didn't capitalize. I felt I'm sorry I keep using that word. It's just I think that's the word that kept popping up in my mind. It was kind of like, oh, you're building me up and you're taking me up on the roller coaster, but then the drop isn't that great after or something like that. Kind of just a letdown for many moments for me in this film, which is so sad to say. I'm sorry I'm being a negative Nancy over here, but
I know we discussed this a little bit before as well, but just one little minor thing. Got to bring up the vape.
Yes.
I guess we're in 2025 now, so it's not same year, but 2024 had two huge movies with vape hits. Or was Blink Twice this year?
Blink Twice was last year.
Yeah. Two big movies last year with random vape hits, and then we got like 5 in this one.
Yes. Yeah. And that's what kind of makes you feel like you are being plopped into today, right? Which is
100%.
nice. Instead of, it's kind of going away from cool cigarette smoking, in movies to vaping instead now. And it's it's pretty funny, and it definitely it reflects the times, though. You know,
100%. And it's one of those nice subtle things of characterization that okay, she's a teenager.
She's a young rebellious teen.
Yeah.
I mean, with her nose piercing and stuff, and how she presents herself, it's it was very obvious what they were telegraphing with that
highlights and everything.
Yes.
Yeah, I thought it was good. This is our our 2000s emo goth phase, but this is the new version of it,
right?
It's
yes,
adapted to the 2020s.
Yep.
Yeah, I always like it because I mean it's so like you have to set up so much to give the characterization of smoking or cigars and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You have to take time and show those. And vapes, it's just like someone's hitting it in the back or during a scene.
Yeah, right. And you could tell she was hiding it from her dad. So I knew that punchline would come up, like, oh, you vape?
Yeah.
Like, and I'm so glad it finally happened, because I didn't know where that was going. Or, I mean, since you brought up Blink Twice, the vape is essential actually in the story for Blink Twice.
Yep.
I wasn't hoping it would copy that, but I was hoping there would be like a little more something with it, and with the unicorns or something. Like it could have added to the wackiness, but they didn't take advantage of that either.
I think it was, a mix of characterization plus comedic relief. I think it's when she's looking at the lore and figures out the trueness of what's really going to happen. And she takes that big hit and she's just like, fuck, or shit, or whatever she said.
Yep.
And I like that. That was funny.
Because it's the timing of the line with taking a drag off the vape. Yep, I get you. Yes.
Totally something fucking kids these days do.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. And she just like, constantly hits it. It's kind of like it's a reactionary thing, because she's obviously stressed out in this situation. 100%. So yeah, anything to help it, right?
That's what I was going to bring up. I think it was like in her highest stress moments is when she was always hitting it too.
Yes,
like she was running at some point and she took a hit and she was going.
Because it's second nature to her too. She's just whipping it out, Jenna Ortega with acne threw me off right away, because never have seen her. She's always had great complexion. I mean, we can say that. And
she uses unicorn blood.
She must in her day-to-day life. But I'm glad the mystery of the unicorn cured it. At least there was a little mystery with the unicorns. Could have been more in this story, and they could have held some stuff back.
I liked the cancer stuff. What do you think about that? Like the sorry, what was his name? Roland?
Oh no, it was Odell.
Okay, interesting. Odell getting his cancer treatments, and I thought that was kind of cool that it was so quick and he was back and youthful. Like it wasn't perfectly done, but
no,
the normal expected, oh, hey, he's better again.
It didn't have to be a long, drawn-out thing, and we had to have something major happen besides the acne going away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course, cancer, that's the biggest one.
Yeah, and of course, the rich people are having bad ideas about it instead of great ideas. And I mean, lately we have had so many eat the rich movies, especially in the horror comedy realm, which is 100%. Nice, like The Menu. And Triangle of Sadness wasn't horror, but I kept going back to that movie when I was watching this one, because there have been so many amazing ones. Blink Twice as well.
Blink Twice.
There have been amazing ones lately that have launched up into my favorite movies even, but this one just didn't do it as well, and I thought it was really lacking that messaging underneath that so many of those have had, like very strong messaging that you can really chew on. This kind of just, it was kind of like a generic run through it of Eat the Rich.
It's like, here's the worst person that we could characterize
in
film, especially, you know, on the backs of stuff like the United Healthcare shooting, and, you know, not to get too political, stuff like that, like
Yeah.
the sentiment people are feeling in the public sphere about pharmaceuticals and the healthcare industry. And so they're like, okay, I'm sure they already had this, you know, written out and planned before that shooting, but it kind of feels like on the back of that, like, oh, haha, like you get so many people that like agree with someone who killed someone.
Yeah.
So obviously you're going to agree with us killing all these people in here. And so that's why we'll depict them that way.
Right.
But yeah, like it was just so cartoonishly evil almost.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. And I mean, kind of fits with the goofy tone they're going with, like killer unicorns. Yeah, that's very goofy, but
Yeah.
those still both feel mismatched and not the same goofy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. The cartoon goofy versus the, you know, like super biting political satire.
Yes.
Or social commentary. Like, yeah, it just didn't match.
No, yeah.
Like they were giving a message that you would be hard strung to find someone that disagrees with. Like, oh hey, there's these really shitty people exploiting people for profit. Oh, okay, yeah,
Yeah.
yep,
All right. And yeah. Yeah.
and yeah, is there something deeper there?
Right. Yeah. It was just like, here you go. Here's this. And yeah, just didn't have enough for me to feed off of or anything. Did the emotional center of the story reach you? I know we kind of like touched on it, but I feel like I went on my points more. I wanted to kind of hear from you, like just, yeah, in general, the emotional.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about Ridley and Elliot's characterization, and I mean they're the core of the movie, of course. There's no redemption arcs at all for any of the rich people. Not really. Yeah.
Okay, so you kind of were on the same wavelength as me then.
Like I got it from Ridley from Ortega. But I just
Some heart.
Yeah, I just didn't ever feel it from Rudd. Like even at the end, I'm like, he's just trying to save himself. He doesn't care.
And how does that happen with the Paul Rudd character? Usually he hits you right in the heart, you know? Like he's very good at that, at being funny, but also very emotional.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know how you do that to Paul Rudd, but like I said before, I was into it if they want to take a different way with his character than he's normally typecast as, but he just didn't do anything interesting with it.
No, yeah. And it's unfortunate. Love you, Paul Rudd. Love you.
Yeah, we do. Keep drinking that unicorn blood.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that man is aging like fine wine, and I hope it's like that for us too.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Of course, Will Poulter when I finally cracked up was the hot tub scene with Will Poulter and him, just talking to Paul Rudd's character. And it was just funny hearing him talk to a person like, like Elliot. Just two very different people. And I always find those conversations interesting, like what they talk about and how they act. And oh my gosh, him yelling for Anthony Carrigan's character.
Yeah.
What was his name again?
Griff.
And that's when he said never mind.
Yeah.
Yep.
That
was probably the funniest scene in the film for me.
It was good. Griff, we didn't talk about him too much yet, but like Carrigan, like he was amazing, his performance here. Like he didn't get a whole lot to do, but like just, the fact of what he was being called on to do from Poulter and everyone else, and his little subtle characterizations. And then I really liked his arc, actually. His was probably one of the only ones I felt completed.
Yes.
Where he was totally subservient at the beginning. Like he didn't really show a lot of signs of disgust or anything towards the orders he's being received.
Right.
And then, by the end, he's like, okay, I've worked for you guys for a long time. Go fuck yourselves.
Yep. That's amazing that he turned out to be an actually good person. And he went to go get help, actually. Oh, my gosh. Yep. I was so scared for him when he was running, though. I for sure thought he was going to die.
And he's like, the little twist where it's like, I have kids, too. I have a family.
Yeah. And so hilarious.
Like, oh, yeah, I knew that. Yeah.
Yeah. He's worked for you for how long, and you don't even know this about him. It's, of course, rich people.
that was the one point of the thing that wasn't so cartoonishly evil, or like more. I liked the depth of that one compared to some of the other jokes about rich people.
Yes.
Where it's like, oh yeah, didn't even really know about her her housekeeper or whatever his role was, manservant.
Yeah, like bodyguard or something. Yeah.
She didn't really know about his family. Whereas like the charity jokes and stuff in the intro just didn't hit for me. Where they're like,
no.
Yeah, we're evacuating the kids, or are we vaccinating them? Like
yeah, just very obvious plain jokes.
Yeah.
Yes, and I like those little toss away ones like you were just talking about, and you totally understand right away. I do feel like Anthony Carrigan was wasted though, unfortunately. Like I felt like he could have been in there more, and he could have amplified the comedy, but also we do know the writing isn't that strong in this film, so would it have really made a difference? I just felt like Bill Hader totally got Anthony Carrigan with being in Barry, and that's like perfect. No-ho Hank. But in this one, they didn't use him to his full potential, unfortunately.
Yeah. I'd mostly agree with that. I liked him. I thought he was my standout part of this.
He was doing the most with what he had for sure. Yeah. Him and Will Poulter, I felt like got the spotlight at times, and that was really nice.
Sorry to backtrack a little bit, but
no, you're good.
Back on the Rudd Ortega thing, I forgot about. There's one scene. So he accuses her about the vape thing. When they're trying to have a moment. And so he gets kicked out of the room. I was like, okay, classic dad not understanding the true depth of his child's emotional journey.
Not being super aware.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. Yep.
But then you get this nice like back-to-back shots where Ortega is looking at pictures on her phone of her mom, or mom and herself. And so you get this a little bit of emotional depth where it's like, oh, she's remembering her mom. And then you cut to Rudd out on the door, and he's still being really bad at his attempts. But he's very subtly playing with his wedding ring.
Yes.
And I really liked that a lot. Like, if they could just delve into that kind of stuff with their relationship. Like, oh, obviously he misses his wife too. And it was very subtle, like just a little pan up from him playing with his ring.
Yes.
And I like that they're both struggling just in their different ways.
Yeah, and they need to find a way to come together with that and get on each other's level and realize that they're in this together.
100%.
Yeah, definitely. Was it too fast with the company taking Jenna Ortega and Paul Rudd's characters into the lab when they wanted to test everything once Jenna Ortega's acne went away and stuff? Was that too fast, do you think, to get into that?
I was just so confused for a few scenes.
Yes. I was like, I was off kilter.
I'm like, okay, are we switching to kidnapping? Are we what are we doing here? I'm like, okay, it was just a quick test. Then you didn't need that weird wake up red herring of them seeming like they're kidnapping them.
Right.
Or going to be leaving them. It almost seemed like it was going to switch to, okay, they're going to be trapped while they have to view all these bad events going on to the unicorn, and then they're going to, escape and save the unicorns type of thing. I'm like, okay, they're going to play it, that standard beat.
Yeah.
But they didn't, and then we just went back to how do we capitalize on this? And it was just weird for me. I was confused for a little bit.
Yeah, and it doesn't feel like a pleasant surprise when they do veer away from what you were expecting either, really. Yeah. It's not like, ooh, I like that. It was kind of like, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I totally get what you're saying there.
It was just one of those scenes I would have cut entirely. I'm like, you just confused me. Like, you could have just permissibly asked them and still went along with the thing, and then went to your presentation pharmaceutical thing.
Right. Yeah,
just weird off-tone thing there.
Yeah, I agree. Paul and frickin' Elliot, there's literally crab, and you're asking for an omelet. instead. When everybody was eating and there's seriously crab legs all
Was
over, I would have dug right into it. Unless he has a shellfish allergy, I could understand. All right, just give me an omelet that I could just make at home.
Yeah.
Take full advantage of the rich, especially when they're dicks like those ones are.
Yeah.
But I thought that was funny how he was asking for an omelet, and then
he had this entire spread.
And then Griff comes with the omelet.
Yeah.
I kind of forgot about that, so I'm glad that came back around. Where like right before the scene was about to end, he gets his omelet.
Yeah, he just brushes it off and he comes back to pay it off.
Yep.
I like that. I've never had crab. I don't know if is it good?
What's up with you, man?
Yeah, I've just never had it.
I know you're adventurous, but like, are you adventurous with food?
Semi. Like, I'm a foodie for sure. Like, I like trying a lot of things.
Yeah.
But I'm also very basic. Like, I don't like spice, all that stuff.
Yeah, for sure. When we went to the Indian place, you had to ask for
the
lowest.
Mild.
Yep.
Like, I love new flavors, just not the extreme versions of them.
Yeah, after eating a hot chip, I think my taste buds are destroyed with spice. So anything with the little spice is too spicy for me now. I'm like really let down by that.
Maybe you just need another one to reverse the effects.
Should I try it?
Yeah.
I would love to throw up again. Yeah.
I'm actually going up to the East Coast though in August maybe. We'll see what I'm doing with my trip. And so I'm going to try all the seafoods there.
You really should. You're going to get so many like fresh things, and that's better than, what we could get here in North Dakota where we are not near the ocean at all. Yeah, try all the lobster and crab for me, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. I can't wait to hear what you think.
I will not be trying any unicorn steaks though.
No, especially like, could you eat something that's like oozing purple?
I mean, it's just something new to get used to, I guess, compared to red.
Yeah, and it was interesting too because, instead of blood, you got that purple stuff. And I do feel like they did do a nice effect with the purple stuff where it was kind of like glistening sometimes. So it did seem like blood when light would hit it a certain way. So when that steak was being cut and stuff, I was really eyeing the steak, and it took me a couple looks, but then I finally realized that it was a unicorn steak, once that purple was coming out. But yeah, I didn't catch it right away.
Yeah, it popped up in my mind. I'm like, it wouldn't surprise me if he's eating unicorn steak. But I was like, would they go through all the process of processing a chunk of the meat right away? I wanted to see Griff, out there cutting off a piece of the unicorn.
Oh my God. That could have been a comedic moment for sure. I don't know why they didn't do that.
Fuck these guys.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Just shaking his head, like sawing off something. Oh my gosh. See, Andy, we could have gave them some tips to like take full advantage. And
Hazardous consulting.
Yes. Even though it might not be the best, it's still consulting.
No, for sure. I mean, like, you tell me to write a movie with, like, you get a basic premise in your mind of the unicorn stuff. I probably couldn't write a great movie.
Honestly, no. And like, that's why this movie jumped out at me. Like, horror with unicorns. Like I said, it was really interesting and intriguing to me. I just feel like it didn't. I wanted to be surprised, and I wanted freshness, but I felt like there was none.
Yeah,
unfortunately. And I would say the horror needed to be more pronounced. It was the beats of the horror, it was not there for a long time, and then it just shows up randomly, like with the gore and the killing, that only starts like a little more than halfway through.
Yeah, it's somewhere around there. Yeah.
The film, and besides that, it was just hitting the unicorn basically, and they shot the unicorn too. I guess that's a little bit of horror, but yeah, the horror moments just felt the seeds weren't spread well, if that makes sense.
Yeah, most of the horror isn't great here. I do like there's the scene in the woods after Rudd's out there. He gets the little night vision goggles.
Yes.
I thought that could have been done a little bit better, but it was pretty decent actually.
Yeah. Yeah.
I liked especially the final one where he sees the unicorn company. He's like, "Oh, I'm gonna just move," and then that other guy gets fucking
Oh my god,
carted away.
Obliterated. Yeah. Oh jeez.
Like that stuff. That was kind of fun.
Yeah. Yeah, and the setting in the forest was kind of cool, like with, the fog and mist all around, and you can't really tell where the unicorn's at and stuff.
Yeah.
What did help for sure for the effects for this movie was the darkness with the unicorns. You can't really tell the effects as much as like pure daylight like it started out, and that's maybe why the effects of the unicorn felt off to us a bit, because it was in the daylight and it was kind of more like mistakes, or not mistakes, but like if they didn't brush up on it or it wasn't totally perfected, we could see those little glimpses into it,
especially when you're on the big screen and it's that close up of a shot.
Exactly. The parent unicorns just looked amazing though in the darkness, and I loved both of their designs for sure.
I liked their designs overall. Like they were a little majestic, but they weren't too far off from like a normal horse. It was interesting. I liked them. I do think that they erred in having the one poster, like they get the two posters, the one where it's covered in the blanket.
Yes.
That one I think is really good. They should have just used that poster only.
I liked that one a lot more.
The perfect white. And then they got the one where Ortega's like screaming at the other one or whatever. Their heads are together.
Yes. Yeah. I think Jenna's kind of like looking off to the side, and the unicorn is like really close with its snout. Yeah.
That one, stupid poster for one. And also I think that shot, when you get to it in the movie, is a little bit dampened because of that.
Yes, because that image has been everywhere for us leading up to the movie.
And you're focusing on it, and it's like, okay, it doesn't look as cool when you're that close.
No. Yeah. See, like, there weren't that many great shots in this, I will say. Not shots like I was like, oh, wow, Nothing too impressive, unfortunately. And hopefully the director, since it was their first movie, like, hopefully he finds more of his niche in that, I guess.
Yeah, 100%. Hope he takes away from this one. Maybe he stays with A24. I don't know how they do their directorial rotations, but...
That's a really good question, because, I mean, I know Ari Aster has done all of his movies in A24.
Yeah, he does a lot with them, and he
and Eggers
produced or co-produced on this one actually.
Is that right?
Yeah, so there's some Ari Aster in this one.
Strange. Ooh, I can think of one shot though that did stick out with me. When the unicorn was laying down in the forest, when it was all dark and foggy and misty, and the horn starts glowing. That was really cool. Yeah. I liked that a lot.
Yeah, I like that stuff a lot. He was the executive producer for this one. Sorry.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Give me a second to find it. Yeah, so I mean, he had a hand in it, and I could see it in some parts. Like there's a little bit of an essence of Aster here.
Sure.
But I don't know, not
kind of more of the what the fuckness of this all. Yeah. When it was revealed that there were two parent unicorns, I wasn't in shock at all. Were you?
No, and I honestly expected like even more than two. Like I thought maybe it would just be like
a whole family
out here.
Boy.
It's now they really opened up a hive. Yeah.
Everybody would have been fricked.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah, I don't know. I liked it though, because then I think 2 actually was a pretty good number, because then you had threats from both sides.
It wasn't too much to have to follow. Yeah, I agree, and you could tell like which unicorn was where, and yeah, that was nice, and they differentiated them enough in their designs and stuff. I felt.
I was really hoping, and we did get a payoff. Like they killed Odell first, and I was like, oh, that would have been a great scene, since he's kind of the big bad-ish for the movie. For them to do like a duo murder, which probably sounds really fucked up, but like both unicorns killing him, but then they just did the head stab.
Yes.
But then the fucking innocent nurse lady, the other doctor, sorry, she gets torn apart by both of them.
I was not expecting her to die. And it sucks because she was actually not a bad person.
Yeah,
I was actually shocked by that, but I'm glad it wasn't Anthony.
Yeah. And then I was like, oh, not the person I was hoping to die, but like that was a really cool.
And
cool
in
kill.
that way, that was like gruesome and cruel almost,
like
to do to a decent person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Like if that happened to Odell, you'd be like, that was fucking cool.
Exactly. Then I was kind of questioning the unicorns a little bit and not totally on their side anymore. But I mean, they redeemed it with, obviously the ending.
Yeah.
And we'll get to that.
Well, I wanted to know your thoughts on that. Like, I don't know if I missed it or what, but near the end with Rudd coming back with the horn, like, do you know what happened there? Why is he alive? Why is the unicorn just on his side now? Like that whole ending, did that make any sense to you?
Not really, other than the unicorns being very intelligent and maybe connecting with Ortega and Paul Rudd's like kind of like visions, that cosmic thing going on. Maybe there was a bit of an understanding between the unicorns and them. And like, I mean, I know we're outsiders looking into it, but obviously it's apparent that they are trying to help and that they are the good people. So I think the unicorns also sensed that or saw that.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. I just thought that was weird.
It was a little, yeah.
I thought it was going to kill him, which, of course it's not.
Convenient, right? Like, kind of convenient.
Yeah, he's just back. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there's no, yeah, it didn't feel like a payoff at all.
Yeah.
Or anything. It was like, oh, okay.
And
Came
then
back.
The whole crux of the folklore and stuff, the whole maiden thing that felt like it came out of nowhere as well. When she's just like, and now they laying down in front of me.
It was just inserted. Yeah. Like, that's when it was starting to get interesting for me. And I liked what Will Poulter's character was doing. And I was getting a little ramped up and excited for the ending. I just feel like all the air went out of the balloon when executing it, though, for me at least. Yeah,
I did like when we were switching it, because it's not like, oh, now it's not money profit motive. It's he's just a fucking drug addict on this unicorn stuff, and he's getting the cosmic thing in his eyes. Like, I really liked where he was going with that.
Yes, I loved the eye effects where the swirls were going on, the cosmic of it all. And yeah, I really liked what Will Poulter's character was doing throughout this movie. And it was kind of nice that he became the last one of the family and like last line of defense for their plans, I guess you could say.
Yep.
I liked that. And I felt like the spotlight was able to be put on him more that way. I think that's why he kind of stole the show too. That helped him steal it.
Yeah.
I would say
up becoming the secondary bad guy ish.
Yeah, right. It was very ironic when Odell was the first one to go out of the family, because he always was supposed to be the first one to go, especially with his cancer.
Yeah,
he was gonna die either way, So I like the irony of that kill. I think that's what kind of backed it up for me too. And I liked that kill at least, and that made me feel something. The other ones really, unfortunately, didn't.
I thought, I don't know, it was cathartic because, like, he's a big bad guy, so you're hoping he gets killed by the unicorns, but it's also like, exactly that he's about to get killed by the unicorns.
Yes. Yeah, it was never a question for me, are the unicorns going to be on his side now? I kind of knew something was going to,
Exactly. Poulter gets kicked at the end. I like his.
Oh,
his
man. Okay, that, and serves him right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of like that it's just kind of like a back kick. And it's like, get the hell out of here,
I thought that was good. The wife was the only one that I was less interested in.
Yes. Yeah, I do like I like Tia Leone.
Yeah.
But yeah, her character I felt like had the least amount going on in the family.
Yeah, and then like she was just also just comically bad.
Yes.
As in, like over cartoony.
Yes, definitely.
Like her acting was good, but
yeah.
Her death also, it was just very like it was slow, and you'd almost be like, yeah, serves you right. But I was just hanging on the edge with Will Poulter being there. I'm like, I'm waiting for a really good comedic payoff. and then it just wasn't there. I'm like, I think I'm misunderstanding the tone. Like I was waiting for him to shoot her by accident.
Yes. Oh, I thought so too.
Yeah.
And again, felt like all the air just got let out of the balloon there. It was supposed to be a very great comedic moment with him just saying, "Oh, fuck this," and just running.
Yeah.
But it didn't land for me again.
100%.
Yeah. Yep. I agree with you. And that's unfortunate.
Yeah, I think it would have been better if, even though I was expecting it, or we were both expecting it, sounds like, him shooting for it, having the bravery to do it, but then missing and like, hitting her or something.
Right. Yeah, that just hilarious, man.
Yeah.
And one of the worst weapons to have, a bow and arrow.
Yeah.
Oh man, you can't trust him with that.
I loved Ortega just taking it seriously the whole time too. I was like, he just told you that he hasn't shot this thing in years, or like only went to a few practices, so he doesn't know how to shoot it. And then she's still scared of him holding it from like 2 feet away. I'm like, I don't know if he's drawing back far enough.
No,
but,
yeah,
but never really had the chance to see it. I would have loved to see if like he did try and end up killing Roger or Ortega or something, and then just missed, or like the arrow just flopped.
Right? Yeah. Just something more funny to get me cackling. Like you need that. That's one of the most important movies, and of course, like going with the tone too, horror comedy. That's when you need a hit on it.
Like the one-liners are great and all, but like the build-up and then pretty
timing, execution,
close after subsequent payoffs. Like, oh yeah, I actually only got a couple lessons, and then failing to use it. Oh yeah, we tied it together.
Yes,
and it worked well. You could do that great with Poulter.
Yeah, definitely. The ending, the imagery, I will say, another shot I'm thinking of is when the unicorns were laying by Ortega. I liked that a lot.
Yeah,
I did.
I thought the color palette as a whole was pretty good for this movie. I don't know how you felt about that, but I thought the purple and black was a good palette. Like most of the movie was dark, or purple, black, and white, I guess, were the primary colors here. And I'd like to see this, with your color thingies. It'd be nice.
Oh, sure,
like
with my hue sync lights.
Yeah, if it would do the purple more.
Yeah, because like when it's daylight, it's so vibrant and everything, and then in the darkness, they do. I'll give it that they take advantage of the times in the day, and I do really enjoy that. It was quite a bit of the movie was in the dark. That really helped the creature effects.
100%.
Yes. Yep.
I liked that a lot.
Yeah, for sure.
I thought the rapid shift to day was a little weird. Like that caught me off guard.
Same.
And I was like, oh, I guess I wasn't looking out the windows, but was it day already?
Well, geez, I mean, did all of that take that
amount
amount of time?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I was like, okay, we're getting ready for a nice dawn ending of this movie or something, or dawn.
Yeah.
And it was at full daytime. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting choice.
Yeah. We have touched on the ending pretty much with Paul Rudd's character being revived, as well as the baby unicorn. And we both kind of agreed that it didn't really land for us, wasn't a very solid ending, right? Did you think the baby unicorn was going to stay dead?
No, because I mean, I'd have to watch it again to be sure, but I think they had a couple subtle things where like the blood was healing at certain points, like just little minor things if you're paying attention to the unicorn.
Right,
yeah. It was healing itself.
Because it's a magical creature, it maybe isn't dead like they think it is, right?
Yeah, and I was starting to pick up on some of that. I was like, because I thought I saw the blood coming back in at one point, and I was like, okay, maybe it is healing, and then then they confirm it later on.
You gotta kind of wonder too, like, do they ever die?
Yeah.
Can you kill a unicorn?
Well, I wonder if cutting off the horn did it, because then he didn't seem like he was reviving. Until they put it back.
Maybe some of that magical cosmic power went away by removing the horn.
Yeah.
And when that just made me think of when the unicorn was introduced to everybody, when its body was chilling in the vehicle, or when it was trying to escape and then they end up shooting it.
Yeah.
The comedy really should have landed when the discovering of the unicorn happened for like all of our characters that we follow. I felt like it should have had more comedic heft. Like I remember a line being like, it was from Jenna Ortega, I'm pretty sure, and just like blunt as hell. She's just like, it has a horn coming out of its head. That's a unicorn. When they were trying to make excuses that it wasn't a unicorn.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Like
that just did not make me
thing.
laugh like they wanted it to.
Yeah.
You know?
I was just like, come on, can we get to her line? Because I remember, her line from the trailer as well. And I think
Okay, and I didn't watch the trailer, so
Yeah.
okay.
That's one of the things that undercut for me. I was like, okay, come on, I know this line's
I've
coming.
heard this. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just the shock of it all and the weird, wacky craziness of the story and the reality that they're in. It should have been more apparent there. All the unicorns are white now. When they run off,
I did like that.
do you know why they are white?
I think that they're naturally white. Like,
Well,
the baby
you figure,
dies.
Yeah,
And then I think it's just because they have to go on their killing spree. The parents
yeah.
turn
They're
black
kind of
and
in
they turn
mourning.
into their evil form, I guess, or whatever. And then they turn back when they're done.
Okay, so there is an evil and a good form.
I think
for
so.
them. Okay,
Yeah.
that makes a lot more sense to me.
Or maybe more of something's out of balance in the universe, so now we need to fix it.
Yep.
Yeah. 'Cause
Yeah.
they're so
Like that missing piece is there
yeah.
now. Yeah, because of the killing, the hitting of the unicorn.
Yeah. I do want to say as well on the kills that we covered a little bit. I thought some of the henchman kills were neat.
Agreed. Yeah.
There's the one part where Ortega's hiding under the car and the other guy gets his head smushed.
Yes.
I thought that one was really good. I like that she turned away instead of looking at it.
Yeah. Yeah. And please, like, that's what I was kind of hoping for, though, from these
horror.
kills is like linger on it more. Use that rated R rating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. That was one of the better kills for me. I think the female doctor is probably the top, and then that head smushing is probably my second.
I do keep thinking of the woman scientist or doctor.
Yeah.
Can't remember.
Whatever she was.
Oh, well. I wish it was executed better because that was like it was a cool kill between the unicorns. Like, both unicorns doing it, and like we were hoping for that. But I almost didn't know. It was too chaotic to where like I couldn't really get my eyes on it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It was kind of just, it happened and then it's gone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Maybe I would just have to rewatch the part again, to kind of really consume it.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a nice comedy bit with the crime scene looking super bad once the police showed up, though.
Yeah.
That was, It's kind of it's an obvious thing in movies when we get to those endings and it's like, oh God, how it must look to these cops that just showed up.
That was honestly, I think about that stuff ahead of time. I'm like, how are they going to explain this away?
Exactly.
But since they're on a reserve, I'm like, maybe they'll just leave and not say anything.
True.
But
good.
Yeah, Griff showed up with the cops, and I really liked that.
Amazing.
He's
yeah.
like, I'm here to help, but I see that I fucked things up further.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so happy that Griff came back eventually.
Doing the last little comedic bit with him rolling up the window.
Yes. I love it. Yeah.
I thought that was also good. Like just showing his social class that his car isn't new enough, that he's still got a roll window.
Yes.
Like he's working in this huge ass mansion out in the hills, but he's still driving this, older version of a car.
It really correlates. It matches up.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel you. I was really hoping the unicorns wouldn't just run off like they did before they ended up coming back in the ending.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, kind of like, like don't leave.
Yeah.
So I'm really glad they ended up coming back and helping them.
Yeah. And I thought that was good, but I'm also like, well, now I'm thinking about it after, and I'm like, That's good. Just explain more or create more issues. Like, I hope
Very
she
true.
has
How do they get out of that? And are they just gonna stay on the preserve forever now?
Yeah.
And like just not talk to anybody? And
Like, do they have a dash cam? Is the cop going to be living? Are they going to kill the cop?
yeah. Oh my gosh.
Like,
Would the unicorns kill a cop?
yeah. Because now they have more bodies to hide, or they don't kill the cop in order for the cop to be able to explain their story. And now there's unicorns that are known to the world.
Right. Yeah. That could become a huge thing. Holy crap. All right. We need a sequel, right?
Yeah.
No, just kill.
Just them running loose in the city, killing people.
Oh my God. Just a killing spree. The unicorns going to a city like New York City would be insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just so death to a unicorn, death to a society or something.
Yeah. Death of a society.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Them running around.
It was pretty majestic when they were running alongside the vehicle, though.
Yeah.
I'll give it that. And I like that all three of them were running with each other. And I felt like that was kind of a nice payoff in terms of the unicorns, at least.
Yeah. For the characterization. I like that.
Yep. And it just connects them more with our main characters. I like that relationship. At least I had something to grab there. In a way, though, I just really couldn't pin down the identity of this movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really struggling and I'm frustrated with that because usually I can, I can like I think of the movie in my mind and I'm just like, okay, yeah, that's what it is to me. This one was really tough.
Yeah. I'll definitely have to digest this more over time.
I think so too for me.
I think it's just like I walked away enjoying it, but I'm also like, I don't entirely know what it was. Like
exactly.
It didn't know what it was.
I can't wrap my arms around it completely. And that it's frustrating for both of us, I'm sure. We like to know that stuff and like feel it.
Yeah. Like we're getting a lot of really good, some misses, some hits, comedy horror mixtures lately.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like Totally Killer coming out and Hard Eyes is the biggest one I could think of.
I still can't wait to see Hard Eyes. Nell just brought that up the other day. I'm like, oh no, I do have to watch that. You're right.
And that's one of the 2025 hits so far. That's top of my list.
Oh, I'm so excited to watch it.
I think that's my highest rated one for the year.
And Your Monster, for me, was a really good horror comedy. I just thinking about one that just came out, like you said.
Yeah.
And I think that's why this one stuck out to me more. Like a sore, what's that term?
Sore thumb?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I think that's why.
Sore horn?
And I'm so sorry. I'm usually not this negative, especially about movies, something I really love. But I do have to point out what I thought and felt, And I mean, I'm kind of glad that we have these movies that aren't as great because it feels like they keep me honest. About the movies I do love and am passionate about. I can kind of, in my mind, pick out now and differentiate. Okay, this is a good movie, and this is what it does well. And this movie, it is a big personal thing, though. I can't be too analytical about them. My opinion isn't the only opinion and correct. I know that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the consensus seems is sitting around a 6, a little bit lower 6 rating for both of the sites, and as kind of mid, so it's kind of a mid movie.
And I would definitely say check out the reviews on it by at least Joe and Clara on Letterboxd. Their reviews really matched, I think, with what I felt in general. They really hit on it for me, at least.
Yeah, I did read Joe's. I liked it.
Good. Okay.
There was this other guy that made a comment as well, or a thing on Death of a Unicorn that was kind of just perfect. Robert E. Acuna, just so I give him credit for it. He's one of the people on Letterboxd here that reviewed it, and he just has a really good, like it's like a whole page in depth of it, and he goes into a lot of different points of it that I think hit really well. He compares it a lot to Jurassic Park, which I thought was interesting because I didn't feel like I got those vibes when I went through the movie, but I guess I can
now
see
looking
it
back,
after.
I can see it too.
Yeah.
I was trying to think of movies that this reminded me of for our, section, and it was really tough.
This movie has no depth, no extraordinary reveals, no metaphors, and definitely no clever analogies. At its core, Death of a Unicorn is just a bloody monster movie and easily the most mainstream movie A24 has ever made.
Yeah.
And I felt like that itself like really summarized what this was for me.
It didn't feel A24 to me.
Yeah.
At all. Yeah. I like that. I like that you brought that up. All right. I'm on his wavelength for sure.
Yeah.
And you know, I don't want to be mean about it. Like it seems like I saw some interviews from Paul Rudd and Jenna Ortega on this movie and like kind of going over the ending and stuff. And it seems like they really enjoy it or enjoyed making it and stuff and have a connection. So that's nice. And I hope other people find a connection to it too, if they can.
For sure. And
it's
like
it's
I said
worth
in my
the watch.
intro, like I enjoyed this movie overall. I came out enjoying it. 7 is more on my liking scale.
Yeah.
But I can acknowledge that there's, a lot of flaws in the movie. But I don't know. I don't know if I would recommend this as a theater watch. Like,
no,
with how expensive theaters are getting, save your money a little bit. But
I'd say for a streamer,
yeah,
at home.
Once it comes to where does A24 go? Do they go to
Usually
Paramount?
Max.
They go to Max.
Yep, Max has a lot of A24.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Once it comes to Max, check it out. But
yeah, I'd say it's worth it, and it could be a fun date night movie or something. Just toss it on a Friday night or something.
Yeah, or if you got more mature kids in their teens or something, I think kids would,
maybe they'll find some enjoyment.
They would like this.
Yeah, I think so too.
It's just goofy enough to be fun.
Yeah, for sure. And we don't have much unicorn content, so
yeah,
it's refreshing in that way at least. And that's just why I was a little disappointed with it, and I hoped it would have been better.
Yeah. It's always interesting when we get a foray into a new realm of mythology or a new story that it's been touched before but not in depth enough, and this is what we get. I don't know. Yeah.
I couldn't write a better story, so I can't say the specific things that would make it better. I do know my feelings, and the message that I do latch onto this movie, and I want it thrown in our faces any chance possible, is that the unicorns represent our planet and what we do as humans to it, and treat it like garbage for our own benefit.
Yeah.
I do like that. I'll always take to that messaging, but I just wasn't hit on enough.
Yeah, I don't think it was a through line enough. Like, yeah, you got Ortega, Ridley being super environmentally friendly throughout, and talking about all that stuff. But yeah, I don't think it was a strong enough theme.
Yeah, I agree. I'm always a sucker for family members that come together at the end of a story like this. Like a bizarre, crazy event takes place to impact the troubled relationships at the core, and realize how much they need each other in the end. But the journey to get there was hindered by the pacing and writing, 100%. Unfortunately. Are those kind of all your thoughts on Death of a Unicorn?
Yeah, I went through my notes. I want to have more good things to say about it, because to justify my rating, especially.
I didn't hear. Yeah. Can you think of anything at all, like big points that go into your rating?
I do know that most theater watches are usually half a point to a point, or half a star to a star.
The
higher.
Experience it. The experience of it in itself. 100%. Right? Yep.
Then if I watch this streaming or something. So I mean, it's probably closer to the 6.5 mid range.
For just the movie itself.
Yeah, if I'd watched it streaming. So I acknowledge that, but I don't know. I enjoyed it. Like I had a good time, even though I was cringing and turning my head in a lot of scenes.
See, and I kind of sensed that from you, so I thought we would be more aligned.
Yeah. I don't know. It's really hard to go back in time and feel exactly what you felt after a movie. Like,
I get you.
Like, was it Cabin in the Woods or not? Yeah, Knock at the Cabin.
Yeah, I remember talking about this a bit.
Like, that one's one of my ones that's in the 9s for me. And like, that's a really high rating for me. I don't usually give that out too often.
No, you don't.
But that was just one of those movies that like I saw it in theaters when it came out, and it just hit really hard, and I really enjoyed it. And it's one of those ones that I'm like, well, if I rewatch it again, I know that experience is not the same.
Sure.
And so
I would be
not,
curious for you to rewatch it.
Yeah, might not hit that again.
The ending let me down, unfortunately, for that. It was really good movie up until.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah, I have seen that a lot with my theater watches. I think, half a point to a point higher than what I would watch it normally.
Yeah, I understand that. And I mean, also what factors into my ratings sometimes is who I watch it with. Yeah. So it was really nice to go to it with you and like, really flesh out our thoughts this way. I'm glad we saved them totally. Did not say a single thing and didn't rate on Letterboxd. Now we can.
Yeah, for sure. Which just kind of shows you like my true rating of Opus too. Like I gave that one a 6 out of 10.
Yep.
Which is mid for my rating scale. But yeah, if it wasn't a theater watch it.
And it was our first movie when you were back. Yeah. So
it'd probably be closer to your rating if I'd watched it anywhere else.
I think that's why I rated it the way I did too.
Yeah, or if I'd watched it myself, without good company and stuff.
Yeah. Hey, thanks. I'm good company.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
you are
I
too, buddy.
so.
Thank you. Yeah. No, it's really fun because I know how passionate you are, and it's just fun to share movies with you in that way too, instead of just talking about them.
For sure. Yeah.
Reminds me of? Should we move on to that?
I feel like any other, like just mid monster movie kind of falls in this bag.
Very fair. Yeah.
Something like The Monkey that came out this year, which I didn't like. That was also a mid.
And I couldn't really wrap my arms around that identity either.
Yeah.
Even though it was Osgood Perkins and I've liked his other films.
It was another one where you got these really strong or trying to be strong family ties and, bringing the family to the end.
And I just didn't feel anything.
It just,
they wanted me to.
Didn't care.
Should I bring up my one that I did write down?
Yeah.
While you're still looking?
Yeah.
I did put down Triangle of Sadness, even though it's a neon film and it's not A24. It's an ether-rich story and satirical comedy, but done better. I also know that A24 has given me better films than this, so I did feel let down. Now that A24 is growing by the years and producing more films, I'm sure the same thing will happen, just like with Opus as well. It'll occur again, and that's just reality because they're stretching themselves more and trying to get out there more, and there will be some misses, and that's all right. So, I mean, that's all I kind of wrote down and wanted to touch on with the reminds me of. It's not super one-to-one with Triangle of Sadness, but yeah. Jurassic Park is a really good one because it's trying to take advantage of this very rare, lucrative creature, and just exposing it for bad intentions. I feel like there's another film that's on the tip of my tongue where the child is taken away and the parents coming back for it. But what?
It's such a very specific
I feel like there
feeling,
was a
and I know what
what
you mean.
Yep.
It's like either they take an egg or a young child of a thing, or
yes, and it was like a weird creature.
Yeah. I don't know. Like I said, I feel like I know this vibe really well. I just can't put my finger exactly on what I know it from.
If any listener can think of a movie that is pretty close to this, send it our way. We would love to see your answers and what you think. Sorry, we didn't have much for that. It was really tough to pin down.
But we go to now watching.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. So do you want to kick it off?
Sure. So just this weekend visited my sister and her fiance in Beulah because my parents came to visit. So with them, I checked out Mufasa finally, since it's on Disney Plus for free right now. And really love that it was trying to do something original with the Lion King property instead of a one-to-one like the other live action Lion King was with the original. I'm glad they were adding on to the story in some way.
Yeah.
And Barry Jenkins, I think, really made it look stunning at points. And a lot of shots were awesome. The animal effects were very well done. But ultimately, I mean, spoilers for Mufasa, anyone, spoilers. Scar, his turn in it just did not hit me in the heart like I wanted it to. Because that's a very important character, like, in my movie mind. Because, yeah, I still love the Lion King to death and love him as a villain and everything. But his switch in the movie is very quick. It was not drawn out like I wish it was, and for good reasoning too.
Yeah.
Behind his turn. So yeah, I was a little let down, but I had fun with my family watching that one. And then I did show them one of my absolute favorites that I also showed you, Blink Twice. And my mom's a big thriller person, so I figured, hey, this is a really good Eat the Rich thriller, so let's do it. And we'll make us think of happy vacation times a little bit, being on an island. And yeah, it was a blast watching it with them. I absolutely love that movie. Yeah, they enjoyed, it was fun. Right now, not a movie, but my wife really wants me to finish Parks and Rec. She got me started on that pretty soon after we started dating and stuff, so I just forgot to return back to it, and I think I just have the last 2 seasons to go. So watching that, like, getting that in before bed and when I'm not checking out new movies.
Yeah. That's Chris Pratt where you guys start, right?
Yes. And I really prefer that Chris Pratt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's still one of those, what do you call them sitcoms? Is that what they fall into?
It's kind of like The Office.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah.
I can't remember the
I'd
exact term for
done
them.
better, but
Yeah.
hazardous opinion probably.
I've seen most of those shows. Like, I've seen The Office, Community, those weird
Community I love.
The groups of just comedy shows.
Yep.
But yeah, I just haven't seen Parks and Rec yet.
Oh, Parks and Rec is really, really good. A lot of great performers come from there, actually. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Especially Nick Offerman. Like, love the guy.
Yeah.
He's perfect in that role,
100%.
too. Yeah.
And I like him in Last of Us a lot.
Yes. Oh, yeah. And I'm so happy he's out there doing prestigious stuff like that, because he should be.
And Civil War just last year now.
Yeah, as the president. Yeah.
Another A24.
It was icky seeing him as that president, but
Yeah.
and he wasn't featured a whole lot either.
No,
in that
he was
movie.
pretty subtle.
Yeah.
It might be A24's most popular or like biggest hit so far is Civil War.
Yeah, I mean, they really marketed the hell out of it, and Alex Garland has become a known name, thankfully, especially in the A24 space, and it just seemed like a huge movie. So, I mean, the budget was big. And yeah. And yeah, that's about it. That's all I've been watching lately. What about you, man?
Yeah, I got a lot as usual. So I mean, coming back, so I'm not really fully settled into a full routine yet. So I've got a lot of movies I'm filling in here and there
to distract yourself a little bit.
I've been watching a lot of shit, but also like a lot of average stuff. Like, I don't think anything has
like wowed you
super
lately.
hit me lately. Actually, I got one. So Predestination from 2014.
Is that with Ethan Hawke?
It is.
I've had that on my watch list for a long time.
So this one is the Speareg, the 2 co-directors. I think they're brothers.
Okay.
They did like a Jigsaw movie and like not really anything big, but they also did Daybreakers, which is also a really big Ethan Hawke movie that I'm a huge fan of.
That's also been on my watch list, and I think you brought it up recently, so I am excited for that one.
That one's one of my favorite vampire movies.
Ooh, perfect. I need a good vampire flick.
and because it just takes a different approach on things. And Predestination was another one of those things where maybe it's just in these two directors' wheelhouses to take known concepts and switch things up. So it's time travel, and Ethan Hawke is... I don't even know how to describe the chronology of events here because, nothing is ever chronological in time travel movies.
No.
It's just a really weirdly messy time travel movie. Like, messy as in you got to wrap your head around all the ways that time works.
You're going to make me think, Andy.
But it's, wait for it, it's
Okay.
actually really cleanly done.
Oh, perfect.
Like,
Okay.
it's super understandable, and I think maybe after an hour, I understood where the movie was going. And I don't know if that's a pro or a con. Like, even though I knew where it was going, the surprise and the twist at the end was still good for me.
Oh, okay.
Like just how they deal with this.
I love twists. So
it's basically the source code plot a little bit.
yeah, I've seen that.
Source code came before this.
My boy Jake.
Ethan Hawke's trying to stop a person who is bombing all these buildings and stuff and just killing tons of people. And so there's this one event in history that they know is going to come up where there's a huge bomb where like thousands of people die. So they're trying to stop that. So he's like going back in time and he's like, okay, we got to go earlier and doing all these things. So he's jumping around and fixing things, and pretty quickly you just get like entranced in the story.
Oh, okay. Wow, you're already selling me.
Yeah. So that one's the top one. So yeah, it's Ethan Hawke, and Sarah Snook is the supporting actress in that.
Love her in Succession. I would love to see her again.
Yeah, she was very good.
Awesome.
So that one stood out to me a lot. I can't remember if I recommended you Traders. I know you've seen my review on it.
You did. Yep.
That
I
one
added
was
that.
one of those unique movies where I'm like, amazing concept, even though I didn't like the movie's okay.
The execution wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then finally saw Den of Thieves 1 and 2.
Hey, what did you think?
I thought the first one was amazing. I think I actually liked it better than Heat.
No.
Yeah.
No. Heat.
I know I'm going to get a lot of heat for that, but...
Hazardous opinion rolling out from Andy right as he gets back.
But, like, I wasn't a huge fan of Heat when I watched it, but Den of Thieves was just, like, perfect.
Okay.
I loved it. It was everything I wanted from a heist action movie.
Mm-hmm.
Second movie is decent.
It's decent.
Decent as a sequel could be for that.
I'm looking forward to it because, yeah, I did finally check out the first one. Actually, yeah, not far removed from when you checked it out.
Yeah.
Like a couple months back.
It loses some things because, of course, you know the characters and it's built up. So you have audience superiority in the second one about like what everything's going on, whereas in the first one, you haven't seen the first one yet, right? Or
No, I have.
Okay. Yeah, in the first one, there's twists that the audience isn't aware of. So, like, it's supposed to be, twists at the end that, like, oh, that's surprising that happened.
Mm-hmm.
But the second one's kind of, you're following these other characters that you already kind of know what's going on.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
So they don't really pull you in for the same loop that the first one does.
Yeah, it's not just a recreation
of
the first one. Okay. I felt like the first one was trying to be Heat, but Heat's better to me, at least.
Yeah. I agree with, half of that at least. I think it was trying to be Heat.
Yes, a modern. Yeah. Heat. Yeah.
And then for TV shows, I'm going through another South Korean flick. It's a Netflix miniseries called The Silent Sea.
Ooh.
So this one's a horror sci-fi.
Oh, wow.
It's like 8 episodes, I think it is.
Animated or live action?
Live action.
Okay.
So it's got... I should pull it up so I don't mess his name. It's got a decent cast of characters. It's got the guy from Gong Yu from Train to Busan, which we also covered on the pod.
Oh, yeah.
So he's the main character in that. And then he's also the... I can't remember the game they play in Squid Game. He's also like the recruiter guy in that. So I think he's kind of a bigger South Korean actor. Like I've only seen him in these few things, but like he's super good and I like him.
I love that actor. Train to Busan, he was really good. I think he's got range too, you know, especially from Squid Game.
So he's good, and then a lot of the other actors have been in, you know, a lot of stuff as well. But basically they're going to the moon. The Earth has ran out of renewable fresh water, so we're like, it's starting to become this big class system where it's like you only get a certain water allowance a day because we have so little, and everyone's fighting over water and everything. So they go to the moon to get some samples that were lost on there, and there's so much that's just shrouded in mystery, and it's just a really, really good sci-fi stuff going on.
I know you love your sci-fi.
And then like the first, like episode 2 and 3 has some really good like horror stuff going on. So
okay,
and I'm only on like episode 6, so I'm not done yet, but it's really good so far.
Awesome. Okay, I'm glad you're enjoying that. That's good. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I suppose a new episode of White Lotus tonight for me. So I'm excited about that. Loving season 3. So that's one of my all-time favorites.
I seen that pop up on the streamer, so I'm thinking of maybe starting that. Seeing if my dad would be
easy to get through, honestly.
See, my dad would be interested, and then
just warn your dad beforehand, and I'm gonna warn you too. It's a dark comedy, and there's just some unexpected events that happen that you're like, whoa, okay, you know. Yeah. So just a fair warning, but it's like I love that shock factor in it, honestly. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy it.
Cool. Yeah, that's pretty much all I have.
Same here.
I mean, tons of other movies I could talk about for hours, but nothing that's like super standout.
For sure. Yeah. I can't wait to do more episodes now that you're back, and we'll kind of flesh out more of what we're watching and checking out.
Cover more.
Yeah, and if you guys have anything for us, please send it our way.
Yeah. So we're doing some sci-fi stuff next month for April.
Yes. Yeah, what do we got, Andy? We got Interstellar.
We do. From 2014. So it's
yay.
11 years old now. If I can do my math correctly.
So excited to talk about it.
Hunter's not a fan of this one.
If we can already preface, I'm just warning you guys ahead of time. It's not one of my favorites, but I'll get into it. I'll explain it.
It's not in the top. I think it's in the top 10 movies of all time still. I think it's maybe it's 11th or something. It's not up there for no reason, is what I'm trying to get at.
So I'm gonna say this to you. It's a hazardous opinion. Yep, that's all I got. Yep.
So we'll get into that one,
and I know it. And
we're gonna be playing with the format now that I'm back, and just seeing what works for us. So please bear with us. I think we're hoping to do maybe 3-4 episodes a month.
Yes.
So don't hold us to anything, but expect content to be flowing back normally again here.
Yes. So ready for it.
Yeah.
Yep. And hope you guys are ready for it. Thank you so much for listening and supporting. Yeah. So lastly, make sure to follow us on socials on TikTok and Instagram at Hazardous Opinions Pod. Join us on Discord and follow our individual accounts on Letterboxd. All of the links will be in the episode description for you guys. If you want to reach out to us, you can email us at hazardousopinionspod@gmail.com. Also, if we could have you guys follow and rate us wherever you get your listening today, it helps out a ton. We appreciate your support, and thank you so much for listening, and be on the lookout for that Interstellar episode next week.
Yep. Or last week, or whenever time works.
Yeah.
Time is weird.
According to Interstellar in space. Yeah. Bye, guys.
Yep. See ya.